Howdy then, folks. I am getting the word that we are ready for this run of Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles Echoes of Time, run by IllegallySam. Take it away.
Hello everybody, I'm IllegallySam, and today I'm going to be showing you Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles Echoes of Time. This is a bit of an interesting game because, you know, in addition to being a Final Fantasy spin-off, which by itself is somewhat interesting, this game was a dual release on the Nintendo DS and the Nintendo Wii. And what that means for the game, which I am playing on the Nintendo Wii specifically, this game was kind of a DS game that they also put on the Wii, which is why if you look at the screen, you got the top screen over here on the left, and you got the bottom screen over here on the right. And I can interact with the touchscreen using the pointer of the Wii Remote, which is just... This is just interesting. I've never seen another game do this. This is just a very interesting setup. It's very odd. Yeah, it's just, like I said, it's just a very interesting setup for a game. And as a result, you know, I'm going to be using the pointer throughout the run to do some stuff to go a little bit faster. But before we get started, I understand that there was a bid war for naming the main character here. And
yeah.
I believe one of the options probably won.
One of the options did in fact win. Uncle Bob.
All right. Let's go ahead and pop that in. Oh, yeah, I forgot this is a setup is like with a QWERTY keyboard.
Ooh.
That's okay.
Where did they hide the N?
Yeah. I'm not used to having to type in with a QWERTY keyboard in the game. I'm used to literally any other kind of keyboard setup.
Yeah.
Wait, I forgot. It's only 8 characters. So there's not going to be a space here.
No spaces.
But that is okay. Alright, there we go. And time will start when I hit confirm on this naming screen. So we could just go ahead and give a countdown and hop into things. So I'll start the run in 3, 2, 1, let's go.
Good luck, good luck.
Thank you. Alright, so right off the bat, we're using the pointer on the touchscreen to skip cutscenes. We're going to be doing my best to skip every cutscene as fast as possible. And that is the main thing that I'm going to be using the pointer for. It's not the only thing, but it is the main thing, is basically skipping cutscenes and skipping dialogue. Because there's also other dialogue here where it's like a little option pops up. It is easier to just have things in place and use the pointer to skip that. Alright, but right off the bat, like I said, this is a Final Fantasy spin-off game, specifically within the Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles sub-series. And if you've ever played those games, specifically, I know that the first one exists. There's a bunch more of them, but the first one is the one that most people know about. You know, it's kind of similar in the sense, you know, it's an action RPG. You got levels, you got spells, you got your Final Fantasy races that I picked from in the intro there, where, like, I had 4 different races to pick from. The one we picked was the Selkie, because Selkie is the most broken for the run, because Selkie gets a double jump. And as you can expect, having a double jump in a game where you're not expected to have a double jump allows you to do a lot of shenanigans and skip a whole lot of stuff. Alright, but here we're making our way through this first dungeon here. This is the forest. It's a pretty simple dungeon overall because it's just a couple rooms and we go fight the boss. But I am going to be picking up every single item I come across throughout the run because we need money for a specific point in the run later. And I will go into more detail about that when the time comes, but for now, we're just going to stand on top of this boss's head and stomp on him. Because this is one of those points in time where the double jump comes in handy, because normally you're not able to reach the top of this boss. You're just, you know, you're supposed to wait for him to, like, attack, then he, like, leans over and you can get high damage on him. Yeah, I'm sure this is not exactly the best camera angle, because he's, like, mostly off-screen.
Why is his hitbox so flat? You just stand there. That's wild.
So yeah, well, one of the attacks in this game is if you stand on top of an enemy, you can stomp on their head to do damage. Stomping on his head is technically a little bit slower than if I were to stand like on his neck and attack him with my weapon, because that does slightly more damage, but that is a lot easier. Because he also does have a couple attacks that would be able to knock me off of his head, but I got good RNG, and he cooperated, and just let me stay on his head the whole time. Alright, this is, that's Charlotta. She's, important for the story, but, like, not right now. Like, she'll be in a few cutscenes here and there, and if you were playing the game casually and actually reading all the dialogue, she does join the party at one point. But for now, we don't have to worry about that, because, you know, this is a speedrun. We don't care about the dialogue. Alright, but now we have to make a quick trip into town. What we're doing here is a young girl in town got sick with something called the crystal sickness, so we have to make a journey into the nearby town to try and see if we can find some way to, you know, make a potion to heal her of that sickness. And so in order to do that, we talk to the librarian there, that is Larcatius. He's definitely only a librarian and will never have any other role in the story. And he knows how to make the potion that we need. So we talk to him, he tells us, you know, he needs certain ingredients, and in order to get that ingredient, we have to go to the aqueducts, which requires us to talk to those two random people. The game has a couple dungeons where the only way to unlock the dungeon and progress the story is to talk to very specific people who give you, like, the dungeon entrance. And that's one of them. It's kind of annoying. But first, you notice, you know, on the bottom screen there, we've got 4 icons, but we only have the one character here. So let's fill out our party here. With our good old friends, 1, Q, and 2. Obviously, just picking short names is faster in this game because typing in short names is faster than typing in long names. But now that we have our full party, we can make our way to the first real dungeon, because while the forest was a dungeon that we went through and had a boss, this is the first, like, actual dungeon. Dang it. You can barely slot between those two squirrel things, and when they pop up, they won't stun you, but I was in the slightly wrong position. Okay. So this is the first real dungeon. As a result, this dungeon is going to introduce us to a lot of mechanics that we'll be seeing throughout the run. So anytime we see orbs like that, they're going to require a specific magic spell to activate. And that one required lightning because it was yellow, because we've got our 6 spells. And yeah. Alright, now we're going to start doing some shenanigans. Yeah, we're supposed to push this block, like, across, like, the whole way here with, like, a huge puzzle and everything. Yeah, we could also just put it on our head and just carry it over manually. That's, like, one of the few blocks in the game that actually lets you do that. It looks very goofy and is very useful. Alright, now we have this room. This is a room where we're definitely going to be doing this room 100% as intended. Just don't worry about me jumping into this wall. That is definitely part of the process of doing this room as intended. It's a shame, doing this room as intended obviously takes ramming into this wall, like, a bunch of times. Because, you know, everybody knows that this gate in the wall here, you know, gates have gaps in them, and you can just walk through them, even in real life. They can be a bit finicky at times, though, so this one takes a while. Jokes aside, basically, you're supposed to... There's, like, 2 gates in this room that you're supposed to open up so you can, like, actually make it through this room. But for some reason, if you do, like, very specific movement, where, like, you change to up left and jump up in this platform after going bottom left on the analog stick, because I am using a Wiimote and nunchuck, so I have notches on my analog stick. The problem is, it's very finicky. There we go. Finally got it. Now we gotta do it a second time real quick. It's very finicky. It doesn't like cooperating sometimes. Sometimes I get it, like, first try, and other times I'm here, like, spending a full minute trying to do it. Alright, one more and we're through. There we go. That one was a lot faster. But yeah, by doing that, we can just basically skip the entire puzzle in this room, and more importantly, after pushing that in, we can just switch back to the main character, and we're already at the door. So yeah, this run's going to use a lot of skips throughout all the dungeons, where we're just going to not exactly do a lot of these rooms as intended and skip a lot of puzzles and platforming sections. In addition to that, we're going to use the fact that we have 4 party members a whole lot in order to also do a lot of shenanigans, skip a lot of things, and just make a lot of sections easier than they would be otherwise. Alright, now that we're, like, actually fighting enemies that are beyond the first dungeon, I can talk about how I'm going to be doing damage for most of the run. So if you hit the attack button, you do like that little swing there. But if you hold the attack button, you start charging, and that if you hold it down long enough, you can do a charge attack. That charge attack is very useful, but more specifically, what makes the charge attack important is the fact that if you start charging up an attack and then immediately let go before it actually finishes charging, the cooldown of doing that is faster than it is to just simply attack and then watch the rest of the animation. And so by basically doing a charge attack and immediately letting go of the charge attack, we do a charge attack, cancel, and that is faster than, you know, just doing normal attacks. And that will be the fast way we have of attacking throughout the run. I can do a more specific example when I am not on a timer, because I have to grab this box before that switch goes back to its initial spot. And then we also have to put these boxes on all of these switches here. And once they are all in place, we can open the next door. But yeah, basically, a lot of the fights in this game are... They like don't hard require you to use charge attack cancels, but they are way easier because you can get in a lot more damage in each like boss cycle by doing it. And then also another thing is that you move faster while you're holding a charge attack. So in a lot of these rooms, I'm going to start a charge attack and then immediately just like keep holding it for the entire room because you walk faster that way. I also, while I'm waiting for this to open, go into the AI settings and tell everybody not to use magic, because that is very important for this next fight for them, and most of the fights moving forward, to not use magic. Because I need my, for one reason, I need the AI to have as much mana as possible, because if I ever need to heal or revive and my main character is dead or doesn't have mana, I can switch to one of the other characters and revive them. And also this boss fight specifically has a weakness, and if I let the AIs do whatever they want, they'll mess that up. Because if I hit him with fire twice, he falls down and exposes his weak point. Alright, and by using a ton of charge attack cancels, I can just attack this guy really, really quickly. Hopefully the AIs also get in a few attacks on his weak point, because if they get in enough, I can actually two-cycle this boss fight, where I knock him down twice and do enough damage to kill him using that. But it is very tricky to get the timing for that, so I am not expecting to pull that off. I'm expecting a 3-cycle. Alright, and he's down again, so let's just wail on him some more. It's like the timing for the charge attack cancel is not like super precise or anything, but it's definitely a rhythm that takes getting used to. Ah, dang it, he's so close to being dead. Alright, so...
Close.
Oh, what's up?
Oh, just so close, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so one thing to note is that when you hit enemies with spells, they basically get like an immunity to spells for a short period of time, which is why I made it so that the AIs can't use magic, because after I knock him down and exploit his weakness, he is immune to spells for a little bit, and if the AIs can hit him with spells, that just makes it so I have to wait even longer for that to wear off. That is the first real boss fight where I'm not just standing on his head. Alright. And now that we have the Buffosaur horn from defeating that Buffosaur, we can go back to Larcatius and he'll make the Crystal Sickness potion for us. Something else that I've done a couple times now, that I'll also be doing a few more times throughout the run, is that when you're in a dungeon, you can immediately just go back to the entrance of the dungeon by opening the menu and choosing the option at the bottom to just exit the dungeon immediately. And that is definitely faster in a few spots, like the library here, where every time I'm in the library, I'm going to be using that to leave instead of just walking out the door, as it is ever so slightly faster. Don't worry about the fact that the library is a dungeon. That is definitely not something that will come into play later.
Definitely doesn't seem important. No.
Yeah, don't worry about the suspicious librarian in the place that is definitely not a dungeon.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, so here we can go ahead and use the Crystal Sickness potion to heal the young girl that had come down with the affliction, and head back to town. So while we're here, we're going to do a little bit of shopping, because we are going to get a better weapon for the main character here. For Uncle Bob. Because this is the main character, and the one that we're going to be using for most of the run. it is very important that they're able to do as much damage as possible, because since we're going to be just cruising through everything as fast as possible, we are not going to be getting as many levels as the game expects us to. So there's going to be more than a couple spots where we're a little bit underleveled. And then at the end of the game, we're going to be very, very underleveled. Ignore the evil laughter. It's just a condition. He just breaks out into evil laughter sometimes.
Seems perfectly normal.
Yeah, exactly. Everybody just needs a good evil laugh here and there.
Agreed. Yeah.
All right, but in exchange for him helping us by making the crystal sickness potion, he wants our help by exploring a couple sites and going to the ruins in those sites and activating a few things. So first we have to go to Ice Mountain here. As you can imagine, it's a mountain and it has a lot of ice. So yeah, this is the obligatory ice dungeon. And we're going to be jumping through a lot of these rooms in less than intended ways. So there's going to be a lot of switches that the game expects us to use to like cross gaps and stuff. Whoops. Messed up the spell there. There we go. Okay, so by using 2 spells together, we can actually combine them into like another unique spell, depending on what 2 spells we used. And so by using Thundara and I forget what that last spell is actually, but whatever that 6th spell is, the teal one. By using those 2 spells together, we can actually cast Haste, which very importantly lets us cast a lot of gaps that we would not be able to otherwise.
That's a fun
And
mechanic.
you know, if you combine that with a double jump, that you could see why we're able to skip a lot of stuff. All right, so this puzzle is the first one that uses these ice and fire barrels. So we freeze the ice barrel to make it so that we can freeze the water down here. And then we use the fire to thaw it, and then we use the ice barrel again. Whoops, I didn't actually mean to pick up this barrel. I meant to get some extra health and mana, just in case, because this room, while it's not scary in the sense of it's like difficult or anything, it is scary in the sense of there's a lot of enemies. And going fast, you don't kill them. And so they can be very annoying if they want to be. Like, specifically these flying eyeball dudes, they are very, very annoying. And that's why. Alright, don't worry about the fact that my main character just died. It actually doesn't really matter all that much. Yeah, one thing that is actually pretty annoying about the combat in this game is you basically don't get iframes. So if multiple enemies just want to hit you like multiple times in a row, they can. And as a result, it is very, very easy for enemies to just combo you into oblivion. Alright. So this dungeon doesn't have a boss fight. Instead, it has this little combat arena with all of these enemies. And this is where you could see the enemies combo me into oblivion. Because I got knocked down and then one of them cast a spell on me, so I just took damage and got frozen. I literally couldn't do anything about it. This is one of the most annoying combat rooms in the game. Dang it.
You're saying that an ice dungeon is annoying?
I know, it might be a little hard to believe, but yeah, being frozen is not fun.
Huh.
Yeah, status effects in this game are very, very annoying, because if you can believe it, ice isn't the only annoying one. Because if you get hit by like a lightning spell, you get stunned, where instead of being frozen and not being able to do anything, you can move around and not be able to do anything, because it doesn't let you do anything while you can move around. Like, you can't attack, you can't cast spells, you can't even like pick up objects or anything. Depending on who you are, you'll find one of them more annoying than the other. I personally find the shock a little bit more annoying, because it teases you by being able to run around, but you can't do anything. While ice, it's just like, oh, put the controller down for 3 seconds, I can't do anything. Alright, thankfully that fight was actually pretty good. I have had that fight go significantly worse. I've died in this room during runs more than once, simply because the enemies combo me to oblivion more than just the one time you saw. Alright, and then push this block into place, skip a cutscene, and that is Ice Mountain. Pretty simple dungeon. And now we gotta go back to Larcacius and report to him what happened. And once we do report to him, he'll open up the next dungeon for us. So we just went through Ice Mountain. Can you guess what the next dungeon might be?
Fire?
Yeah, it is Fire Mountain.
Okay. Good. Glad we're staying on theme.
So yeah, we've got Ice Mountain and we got Fire Mountain. If you can believe it, Fire Mountain is actually significantly more annoying to play through.
Yeah, for an ice dungeon, that seemed pretty benign.
Yeah. Now, granted, it helped that we, like, skipped half the rooms. Like, did a skip in, like, half the rooms. The reason why Fire Mountain is so annoying is because its gimmick is using these fire barrels to blow up these, like, giant stone bricks. And... yeah, that is very annoying because some of these rooms have multiple ones of these with enemies in the way, and they are very annoying.
And targeting the barrel is interesting at times.
Yeah, because if there's an enemy nearby, it'll lock onto the enemy and not the barrel. And then the other gimmick it has is it has these water barrels and these plumes of fire, and we have to use the water barrels to extinguish them. Right, this is the point where I summon all of my allies so they can maybe distract the enemies for me. While I get this barrel in place and blow it up. Alright. Gotta kill this guy because this guy has a high likelihood of dropping an item that restores mana. And I need as much mana as I possibly can for, not this room, but the next room. Because the next room is one of the most annoying rooms in the run. Because you saw how I had, like, one of those, you know, blocks where you have to blow it up with the like the fire barrel. Now we have to do 4 of them in one room. And there's a bunch of enemies here as well. And if the fire barrel's not in the right spot, we can just have it blow up on the block and it doesn't actually blow it up. So I have to be very careful when positioning these things as well. Okay, so I'm not going to have enough mana because I had to heal. Also, the reason why this is annoying is because the barrels are on top of enemies, and it intends you to, like, kill the enemies, but you can just pick them up off of the enemies' heads by jumping up. The problem with that is sometimes you just pick up the enemy instead of the barrel.
You just pick up enemies?
Yeah, you can pick up enemies in this game. You don't want to because they'll attack you, but you can do it. Alright, so let's get these barrels blown up. The reason we have to blow up all 4 of these blocks is because these blocks are hiding 4 switches, which we need to press in order to advance to the next room. Alright. Thankfully, the AIs can cast healing spells, and the way, like, various healing spells work in this game is they leave, like, a little lingering, like, circle, and if you step into the circle after it's been cast, you still get the effect from it. So even if you're not the person that got healed from the cast itself, you can still get healing from it, which is very nice. Alright, thankfully this is that room actually went really nicely. That was not too bad at all. And then this is the last room in the dungeon before the boss fight. These boulders are awful because you cannot see them coming. There's just not enough time, so you just have to work around it. That is very unfortunate. Okay, we'll have to go back down and get another barrel. Okay, so what I did is, basically, if you throw an object while you land on the ground, it is possible to basically make the object, like, you throw it before you are actually able to... that's not great. Let's go ahead and revive them. Alright, let's use you, because that... Okay, never mind, let's revive them again. Let me get that guy explode. Oh, that is... Oh, I was too close to him when he exploded. Alright, well, hope you like the fire dungeon. Now we get to do it again. That's what I get for saying that one room went too well.
The game knows.
Yes, exactly. Thankfully, this dungeon's not like the longest dungeon in the game, but it is very unfortunate to die, because if you die in a dungeon in this game, you just have to redo the entire dungeon. There's no checkpoints. Which... in these early dungeons is unfortunate because you lose, you know, 3 to 5 minutes, depending on where you die. The final dungeon in this game, if you die, you lose literally 15 minutes if you die at the end, because there is no checkpoints, and it is the longest dungeon in the game. I don't want to pick up the enemy. Get off my head! Alright, well, he's just along for the ride now. Okay.
Little guy really wants to get picked up?
There we go. Yeah, he just wants uppies. Alright, let's actually get this spell out. Get a little bit of health, so I'm not at no health. Alright, and then kill this guy. Hopefully he drops mana, because I absolutely need mana. The one consolation prize of dying in dungeons is that you keep any XP you got while going through the dungeon the first time, so you do technically get to go through at a slightly... makes things ever so slightly easier. It's a minor consolation prize to losing 3 minutes or so, but it is a consolation prize.
Mm-hmm.
And the big problem with having to redo the entire dungeon is that nothing stays completed. Every single puzzle and every single challenge you did in the dungeon, you have to redo. So we gotta get all 4 of these barrels in place again, blow all 4 of them up again. Alright. And I gotta go back for that first one because this guy didn't want to cooperate. There we go. There. Alright, so both of the Ukes are dead. That is not ideal because those are the magic characters, like the magic focused. They're the ones I always swap to if I want to revive because they have the most mana and use the least mana. But if I don't die again, I'll be fine. Alright.
It's easy, just don't die.
That's what happens when those giant boulders just pop out of nowhere.
Oof.
Because, like I said, there's literally not enough time to react to them most of the time. Alright, let's try this again. Get the barrel on top of my head. I'm just gonna wait for that one, the next boulder cycle, so I don't accidentally get hit by it and get knocked into lava or something. There it is. Alright, so if I wait for the next cycle, I have enough time before the next one to be able to make my way all the way up here. Alright. And there we go. And now we can get on to the boss of this dungeon, finally, after getting like 15 seconds away from it and then messing up. Alright, so this is a very annoying boss fight because this is a giant fire spider. The reason why this boss fight is annoying is because we need him to do a specific attack in order to become vulnerable, and whether or not he uses that attack is RNG. So we just kind of run around back and forth until he finally decides to use the attack that lets us actually do damage.
Great boss design.
Yes. And then, yeah, so we basically need him to curl up into a ball and then charge at us. He just uncurled, which makes us waste even more time. And while he's curled up into a ball, he has another attack he can use, which is what he used the first time, which is shooting a bunch of fireballs at us. Alright. And then after doing a bunch of damage, we can freeze him, and that'll prolong his vulnerable state, so we can get a couple extra hits in. Alright, so if I get good oh, that was actually really good RNG. He charged again without even reigniting, so I don't even have to use that barrel.
Nice of him.
Alright, then use the freeze. Alright, if this keeps up, I can actually 4-cycle him, which is pretty good. That helps make up for the death earlier a little bit by giving a fast boss fight. Alright, he still hasn't reignited, but he is most likely going to. Oh no, okay.
What a friend.
You can, if you have perfect charge attack cancels, it is possible to get more attacks in each cycle before you freeze him. But I am playing it very safe, and I am not pushing my luck. Because if I do too many, then what happens is then, you know, he stops being vulnerable and you miss out on the extra hits from freezing him in the first place. Alright, that was probably the best fight I've ever had for this boss. That was really, really fast. Like, he didn't spend that much time, except for, like, with the first cycle. Just, like, doing random attacks. None of the AIs died, which is very rare. Alright, and then these giant switches are annoying because you need all of the AIs that are currently alive to stand on it in order to actually activate it. So that is the one advantage to having all of the AIs die during that fight, is you don't need them in order to activate that switch, because you can just stand on it by yourself.
Only counts live people. All right.
Exactly. Because ghosts can't activate switches. Everybody knows that.
Yes, yes.
All right, so we activated that last ruin at Fire Mountain, so we make one last trip to Larcacius here. He thanks us for our help, then has a very ominous cutscene that we're going to skip. And because we don't see the cutscene, you know, nothing's wrong. Nothing weird's going on.
Just a library.
Yeah, everybody knows that if you skip the story in the game, it doesn't happen. Alright, so now that we've done our chores for the day, we make our way back to the village, talk to Charlotta. She's like, oh, what have you been up to? I mean, good for you, but come eat dinner. And so we go in, we eat dinner, we rest. The AIs don't know what to do, so they run off into the river right there. Because they can't enter the house with me. Skip some cutscenes. Some weird stuff happens in the process. And now everybody in the village is missing. Except for, like, one person. And so, you know, weird stuff happened. Everybody's missing. Let's go talk to our friend Larcacius. Surely he knows what might be going on right now. There's definitely nothing that happened in a cutscene that skipped that would inform us as to what is going on at the library. And why there is now monsters in here and no Larcacius. Yeah, now this is a full dungeon. My very subtle foreshadowing might not have tipped you off, but yeah. We have to make it through the next dungeon, which is this library. This is actually a pretty interesting dungeon because, like, it has, like, a lot of mechanics, like, with these, like, putting books on pedestals to do stuff, and using that to, like, activate these white magic pillars. However, those books activate Holy, which is just a spell, and because it's just a spell, we can cast it. We don't have to use those books at all. But because we have to activate a lot of these pedestals, we're going to be switching to our friends, the Ukes, because they are the best users of magic, and as a result, they also have the most mana, and using their spells costs the least mana. And so in order to use a bunch of them in quick succession without running out of mana, we have to use them. Alright, and then now that we're in this room here, let me restore my mana. There's going to be a bunch of enemies that we have to kill in order to, like, open these bookcases. And most importantly, this is where we get to grind, because there's a grinding section in this game. It can't have an RPG speedrun without some grinding. In addition to, you know, getting some extra levels, which will let us do extra damage, have extra health, take less damage ourselves and stuff, which is obviously useful, the main reason we're grinding is for enemy item drops, because we need 5,000 gold by the time we finish the second to last dungeon. And the best way to do that is by just killing every single enemy we come across that makes sense to kill, and picking up all their items. That includes this grinding section here. So we're going to be here for a few minutes, so if you've got anything to read, Surly, now's a perfect time.
Sounds good. Just want to remind everybody, we are raising money for community. If you would like to donate to community, you can visit our Tiltify campaign at speedomizer.live/donate. Otherwise, !donate in the chat will also get you there. All of your donations are sent directly to community. So when you are donating, don't forget that there are polls, there are incentives. Add your money to those when you put your money forward. We appreciate it all. We appreciate you coming out and supporting the runners that have learned new games. We appreciate you stopping by and spending some time watching some speedruns on a Sunday night. I mean, I enjoy it. That's why I'm here. But, you know.
We're here for charity and we're here for fun.
Exactly.
And as frustrating as this game can be at times, it is still a fun game and a fun speedrun if you ignore the final boss.
I love those. Everything's great right up until this one moment.
Yeah. I mean, I do really like this run up until a certain point, and then I mean, it's not that it's not fun, it's just very frustrating to do for PB attempts. And there's a reason my PB is a 1:23, and my estimate is still a 1 hour and 4 minute time, and there's a reason for that. And that reason is the final boss.
Ooh. Yeah. RPG bosses are great. They're peak game design at times.
Yeah, especially when you're going in very underleveled.
Yep.
It's fine, I'll be fine.
It'll be fine.
It just might not be first try, or second try, or 10th try.
But we will persevere, and it will happen.
Yeah. It's also this way just in the off chance that I do die during the final dungeon, because that does lose 10 to 15 minutes, depending on where I die, but I should be able to get through the final dungeon without dying. It is a very difficult dungeon, and we are underleveled, but it is not nearly as get through most runs without any issues.
Excellent.
Alright, so the point in time I use to note when I'm done grinding is when my main character gets to about to level 13-ish. I say ish because it's not an exact science, but it is a good indicator for when I should move on, because every single time I've used 13 as a stopping point, I've had more than enough gold for later in the run, and I've also been a good level for the boss fight. Because when I started this grind, I was like level 6 or 7, and so needless to say, doubling my level is going to be very useful for the next boss.
Yeah. If this lines up with most Final Fantasy games, I haven't played any of the Crystal Chronicles, but played a pile of the other ones. You probably wanted to be like level 50 to 70 going into the final boss.
Yeah, we're not even going to be above 35.
Excellent.
And by 35, I mean one character is going to be close to that, and the other 3 will not be. Because, just to pull back the curtain a little bit, the reason we need 5,000 gold is because we're so underleveled, we have to hire a character that comes at level 30 in order to do any damage in the final dungeon.
I mean, that seems like a great use for the money.
Yeah, every other character will be like level 16 or 17. They will not be able to do anything at all.
Yes. RPG speedrun routes are awesome.
Yes.
They're so well thought out.
I mean, it is... I mean, it's kind of our own fault that we're going in so underleveled, because we kind of, just for a little spoiler for something a little later in the run, we skip half the game. So there's a reason we go into the final dungeon so underleveled, but still. Alright, should be like 1 or 2 more, I think.
That seems about right.
I'm probably fine, like I could probably just stop here, but it's a marathon, I'm not gonna be risky. I have no reason to.
Exactly. We're not in a rush.
Exactly. And it's not like putting the schedule behind negatively impacts the next runner, because I'm the next runner.
Exactly. We're here till the end. We're taking chat hostage until we're done.
Obviously, I don't want to go over estimate, but if it happens, I mean, you know, that's on me, and I'm only affecting myself and production staff. All right. So these like pillars where you have to hit them in order to move them along. Hitting them with a charge attack obviously moves them along a lot faster than a normal attack, so that is why I always try to hit them with a charge attack. But, you know, that doesn't always work out as nicely as it could. All right, this room's funny because you're supposed to use a whole bunch of books to, like, get up here. We could just jump up here. And then we can just cast Holy and just beat through. All right. It's time for the next room. This is a room where, you know, we have to hit this lever in order to, like, make one of these platforms go up and down. We could just jump up, because, again, double jump absolutely demolishes this game, because it was not made with that in mind. Oh, are you kidding me? I don't have enough mana. Shoot.
Oh, no.
Okay. Whoops. Well, let's fix that. There we go. Alright, and that is the last cast of Holy I will have to do for the the remainder of things, which is very nice. Not because it's difficult to cast it, it's just dual casting spells in this game is a little awkward. There's 2 control schemes, and in order to switch spells, you have to... I am using the D-pad on the Wiimote. So the D-pad on the Wiimote, what it does is you press up and down to change characters and use left and right to change spells. And you can also use the pointer to switch things. I just use the D-pad because I don't want to use the pointer if I don't have to. It is technically a little bit faster to use the other control scheme, which basically you have to use the pointer to switch between spells and teammates, but I don't want to, so I'm not doing that. But basically, in order to dual cast a spell with this specific control method, you have to hold down the C button, which is how you use spells, and then while the spell's ready, you have to press A, that locks the spell in place, and then you have to switch spells and use a different spell and cast that over the original spell. And that'll turn it into a different spell.
That's also, a lot of button presses.
What was that?
That's a lot of button presses.
Yeah, exactly. It's way more complicated than you'd expect. All right, but also remember Larcatius? Yeah, this is the boss fight against him. This boss isn't too hard once you know the patterns, but it is definitely not free. But if one of these explodey dudes hit him, then it stuns him, and then we can just do a ton of damage. And then we can also freeze him to do extra damage. Ah, dang it, I did it too late. So, like, the stun also activates the spell resistance. So, unfortunately, I froze him too late, so I didn't get to actually freeze him there. Ooh, that's unfortunate. I'm gonna freeze him and then heal. Thankfully, all of my AIs are still alive, so they're doing some extra damage here for me. Yeah, basically, the idea for Larcatius is you get in a couple hits, run around him in a circle, depending on what his next attack is, and then just wail on him a few more times until he does his next attack. And if he tries to use a spell like that, run through his spell circle in the opposite direction, and that'll cause him to cast the spell early, and you won't get hit as long as you keep moving. And so it's a pretty simple boss pattern, and once you know what you're doing, it's not too hard to make sure you don't get hit by stuff, but it is definitely not easy when you don't know what you're doing yet. It is very easy to just get hit by spell after spell and attack after attack, and he will absolutely demolish you. He also has a chance of spawning more ads, which is not fun, because then the ads also just get in the way of things. But thankfully, he actually gave me a very good pattern, didn't spawn ads a single time. The AI stayed alive for almost the whole fight, getting extra damage off, and that was really fast. It's a shame I died in Fire Mountain, because all the boss fights so far have been really good. Because Larcatius can be a nightmare with RNG sometimes, depending on how things go. Alright, but now that we defeated him, we still have to figure out what happened to everybody in the village, because everybody in the village is still, you know, not there. They still disappeared. We don't know why. But thankfully, you know, we've got a lead where we can go back to the village. Apparently there's some ruins in the desert that were found, and in order to unlock those ruins, we have to talk to the one remaining person in the village. So let's go talk to them. They'll unlock the dungeon for us, and we can go into the second to last dungeon of the game. And by second to last dungeon of the game, I mean it is the second to last dungeon I will be doing. It is not the second to last dungeon of the game. If you did this game normally, there's a graveyard dungeon, which I think you go to 2 or 3 times. You go back to Ice Mountain and Fire Mountain a second time. You go back to the ruins that we're going to here a second time. You go to the library 2 more times, for 3 total. You go to all these dungeons multiple times, basically.
It's a lot of dungeons.
Oh yeah, but because we are speedrunners, we don't do any of that. So yeah, after this dungeon, we're gonna go get our money, sell all our items, and hire the friend that will be so much more powerful than any of the other characters in the party, and go beat the game.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, so yeah, again, this is an example of the double jump just absolutely not being used as intended. Because those are not platforms that you're meant to stand on. Alright, so the gimmick for this dungeon is we've got these little pyramids that we charge up with electricity. And so most of them come pre-charged, and if they ever become uncharged, we have to use Thundara on them in order to recharge them. So ideally, every single one of these, we will grab it while it's charged, carry it to where we need to deposit them, and do it fast enough so that they don't run out of charge. However, yeah, that's obviously not easy to do in every single scenario, and if I make any mistakes, they'll probably run out of charge. Thankfully, that one I made it. But obviously having to put it down and recharge it is slower than not having to do that. So hopefully, every single one of these will be done quickly, outside of that first one, because I messed up the first one. Alright, but as we make our way back to the central room, this is why we were depositing them, so we could get them back here and put them into these little slots in this dungeon here. Like this room of the dungeon. And the reason we're doing this is because this room is an elevator, and we gotta power it in order to get down to the next floor.
Classic. Stationary elevator, fight a bunch of enemies.
Exactly. Stationary elevator, fight a bunch of enemies, do a couple puzzle rooms, then go back to the elevator and go down to the next floor.
Perfect, yeah.
Yeah, on that first floor, we didn't have to kill any enemies in order to open the door in order to go to the next room, but from here on out, every single floor will require us to kill the enemies that spawn in order to open the next door. So obviously I'm going to be doing that. Thankfully this floor is pretty easy. The enemies are pretty tame. It's just these explosive bomb dudes, and they're pretty easy to kill. Especially since I am not as severely underleveled as I was before. Alright. Thankfully, this next floor only has one of those charge pyramid things. I don't know if they have an actual name or not. I just call them pyramids. Even though they're not really even pyramids, they're just like... It kind of looks like they have like a bottom that's not the same as the rest, but eh. It gets the idea across. Also, this room is one of the most annoying rooms in the run, specifically just because of this part coming up here. So I'm going to put that guy down over here, so I don't have to deal with it. These balls are the bane of everybody's existence. It doesn't matter if you're speedrunning or playing this room casually. If you're not careful, they will just whack you while you're trying to move this pillar along, and it just resets all your progress because you get knocked down. Thankfully, I was able to maneuver around them safely, but if I had messed up the movement in that room at all, it would have taken way longer. Alright, this room I can just hold down right from the entrance and I'm good. Alright. And this room is pretty simple, because I just gotta get this into the right spot and I'm good. Just for the sake of it, I'm gonna heal you because... why not? That way I have all of 4 of my AIs alive, because if a character is not alive, they do not get XP, which is not like a huge deal for the AIs, but it's definitely nice for them to get levels if possible, because getting a level fully restores a character's HP and MP. And on top of that, it, increases their HP and MP, and having more of that is nice for the final dungeon in a couple specific rooms. Okay, so something to note about these little dudes with the big heads that cast spells. What their deal is, they're like the magic enemies of the game, and as a result, they are like, they take less damage from physical attacks. Some of them take basically no damage from physical attacks, and they are weak to magic attacks that are not the element that they resist. So these yellow dudes cast lightning, they resist lightning. They are weak to any other magic attack, and because I am playing as a Selkie specifically, this charge attack counts as a magic attack. That is just like, I don't know if it has an element or not, because it just does absolutely massive damage to those magic enemies. So basically, the strat for those dudes is just to hit him with the charge attack. Whoops. Okay, there we go. And then go up here. There we go. And we could just skip that entire room, because we could just double jump. And if you thought double jumping with one of these characters wasn't broken enough, watch what happens when we combine it with another character. So let's get everybody in place. Preferably without them falling off the cliff. Alright, so let's get you in place. And get you in place. And get you in place. Oh, that's not where I wanted you to be. Okay, that works.
Doing some tower stacking. I love it.
Exactly. Oh no, it ate my double jump, because I started moving too early. Okay, that's fine. Let's get you in place. Get you back in place. And then get you in place. There we go. And that lets me skip the entire puzzle in that room because this is like a secondary entrance to that room where you're supposed to like go into this room, use that to get to those chests and pick up that treasure. But instead, we can use it to enter the room faster. Because, yeah, by stacking characters and combining their double jumps, we can just skip a lot of stuff.
How long did that one take to learn?
Stacking in this game is actually not that bad once you get the rhythm for it.
Okay.
So basically, once you get like the gist of like actually what stacking characters entails, like switching characters with correct timing is actually not that bad because if you just hit up on the D-pad the moment you jump with the first character, you basically get the correct timing. Because there's like a slight delay between hitting the D-pad input and it actually switching the character. So that delay is basically enough time to jump with the first character, and then it switches to the second character. You can just jump with them. So it's definitely not like free. It's very easy to mess up, but it's not nearly as difficult as it might be. That is the last bit of those electric pyramids that we have to worry about. But we are not quite done because there is one more like enemy wave before we actually get to the boss of this area. And once we kill them, we're done. As in, we get to fight the final boss of this dungeon. Not the final boss of the game, unfortunately. I'm gonna just bait out these spells so I don't accidentally get hit by one of them. Alright, and then before I move on to this boss fight, I am going to prep my party to make sure they are good to go. So let me get them in place, make sure everybody's healed. Make sure everybody has full mana, specifically my two magic characters. Because this next boss is gonna get cheesed to hell. Because there's a spell in there's a spell in this game called Gravity, which is useful against every single flying enemy. And this is the one boss in the game that is flying, and therefore is weak to gravity. Gravity, let me wait for this stun to wear off because I accidentally got hit. So Gravity is a like 2-spell spell, so use it. Yeah, there goes like a third of his health bar. Because it does damage proportional to how much health the boss has left. And so if you just spam Gravity over and over again, you just absolutely annihilate his health bar. And on top of that, if you hit him with Gravity while he's in midair, it knocks him out of midair and stuns him. And obviously, that is very useful. And then when he's at low enough health, I can just attack him normally and finish him off, and that's the entire boss fight. Yeah, needless to say that when you know that trick exists, this is one of the easiest bosses in the game. That boss is very annoying if you don't use that trick, though. And that is also why I needed both of my magic characters to have as much mana as possible, because if one of them ran out, I needed to switch to the other one to continue using the trick, which is what I actually did during that fight. Alright. And then this dude here, this is actually the guy we just fought. He has some curse stuff going on. He's also like 1,000 years old or something. But don't worry about it. It's a story, it doesn't matter. And he gave us a little item.
We don't need plot around here.
Exactly. Yeah, he gave us a little item. Oh, I forgot to sell the items first. Let's go do that. He gives us a little item that like would be useful if we were going through the story normally, but we aren't, so it doesn't matter. Alright, so now the thing that we've been building up for this whole time with all of those item drops, getting to 5,000 gil. So now we're just selling literally everything we've been picking up throughout the run. And as long as I didn't, like, somehow not get enough items, I will be good to go. And while I sell everything, if you got anything else to read, go ahead.
Just want to welcome in our raiders coming in with a little bit of support. Appreciate that. Thanks for stopping by on a Sunday night. Enjoyed some Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles here.
Alright, and now that we have a 5,000 money, we can hire this guy. He's got some snazzy clothes, and he was like, oh yeah, I'm like a fashionista, I'm like a fashion expert. If you want to like hire me to like come around with you and like show off to people that you're friends with somebody who's really cool and really well dressed, you know, just pay me 5,000 gold and to do it. And then we pay him. It was like, wait, what do you want me to do? You want me? We're going to like, I mean, you paid me, so I guess I'll do it. That's not what I meant. But also, this guy's level 30, which is the main reason we hire him. However, we actually ever so slightly didn't have enough money to make things really easy, in that I have to go ahead and unequip his item, or his weapon, because we need to give him a better weapon, and that better weapon costs 525 gold, I believe. Or it's like 500, something like that. And I had just ever so slightly not enough gold. So let's, yeah, 525. So because of that, I had to unequip his original weapon and buy that. Alright, and then also, for a minor time save later, I can equip Uncle Bob with a bow. That could come in handy later and save a couple seconds, but we'll see. But now that we're ready to go, it's time to skip the entire game. Because this game has
a casual statement.
Exactly. Yeah, this game has an overworld map, and therefore we can do some stuff on that overworld map. I didn't get a first try. Okay. So because this game has an overworld map like this that we can do literally anything on that we can do while in a dungeon, by using some very specific movements in this corner here, we can like set up our position perfectly by using cardinal directions and some like input buffering to end up over here, and if we do it correctly, we go out of bounds. And the entrance for the final dungeon is always open, so if we go out of bounds and then go to the entrance, we can just go straight to the final dungeon.
Huh.
So yeah, now we can just go beat the game. Yeah, we're going to be using stacks a lot in this dungeon. Because, for example, in this room here, we're going to be absolutely not doing what's intended at all, and doing this to skip pretty much the entire puzzle in this room. Because we're supposed to, like, get a block and cause it to, like, land on this switch, and press the switch, and that will activate some stuff. But instead, if we take this fire barrel up here and then drop the fire barrel on it instead, which is very much not what you're supposed to do, we could just hit the switch early, and that absolutely saves a lot of time in this dungeon. And then, like, we're supposed to freeze this water and then use that to grab this barrel, but we can also just grab it out of midair instead.
Sure. Totally.
And then, there we go. Now we can move on to the first of 3 elevators in this dungeon. These are your classic, you're on an elevator and you have to kill all the enemies for the elevator to stop. So yeah, basically there's going to be 3 of these elevators. Every single one of these elevators is just going to have a bunch of waves of enemies. Once you kill all the waves of enemies, you're done. And the elevator will stop, you can move on to the next section. I'm also gonna take this opportunity to change the AI settings to protect yourself. The reason for this is this dungeon is very difficult when you're very under-leveled, and protect yourself is basically going to incentivize the AIs to constantly heal and revive. And as a result, if I ever get to low health, I just need to walk over to one of my AI pals and they'll either heal or revive me. And they'll also be doing the same for themselves and each other, which keeps them alive a lot easier as well, which is nice. Yeah, because if you're looking at the damage numbers, you know, I'm doing like 100 plus damage to most of these enemies. They're doing like 1.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. Yeah, because they're still level 15, level 16, something like that, and yeah. They are very not well equipped in order to do anything here. Which is a shame, because we still got Uncle Bob with us, because, you know, that's not the character we replace. But it is a little unfortunate that they are not nearly as useful from here on out for the rest of the run, despite being the main character up until this point. Alright, so we're gonna do some shenanigans again. So we're gonna, whoops, put that character in place, put this character there, cast haste. No, I messed up. Never mind. I'm gonna cast haste again, because I messed up my inputs a little bit. There we go. And then do this. No, I was in a slightly bad position. I have enough to cast haste one more time, so let's make sure I'm in the right spot this time. That's not the right spot. I accidentally moved a little bit more than I meant. Okay. Well, that's unfortunate. That's fine, though. I could just go get some mana down here. This trick is not hard, but it is very easy to very slightly be in the wrong spot and mess it up. Alright, let's get in position. Because the nunchuck does have notches for the analog stick, which makes things a lot easier to control, but obviously it is still very easy to mess that up despite having notches.
It's very kind of them to put it on an orthogonal grid, too.
There we go. And now we can just go through that wall. Oh, well, again, I mentioned earlier this game was a DS game that's also on the Wii. The DS has a D-pad. They didn't change anything about the game when they put it on the Wii besides having the pointer be the touchscreen. Sure. And so it has 8-directional movement because of the D-pad on the DS. And it's also for that reason that movement on the DS version of this game is slightly easier. And arguably, the DS version is slightly easier to run because of stuff like that and the touchscreen. But the DS version also has a lot of lag. So it is, as far as RTA goes, it is the slower version to run on. Because it's about like 10 minutes or so of time lost to lag every single hour of gameplay. Because despite being made for the DS, and very clearly being made for the DS first, this game runs well on the Wii and not on the DS.
Classic DS things.
Classic Square Enix things, making weird decisions that nobody understands, specifically in relation to anything Final Fantasy related.
Oh, yeah.
Alright. So this part of the dungeon is the part of the dungeon that introduces the worst enemies in the game. These enemies are basically kind of like invisible, and when they're invisible, they take significantly reduced damage. What that means is you have to basically make them vulnerable in order to actually kill them, and they are also incredibly easy to die to because they cast freeze, they do a lot of damage, they can block your attacks if you're hitting them from the wrong angle, and the only way to make them vulnerable is to hit them with a healing spell. And so basically, when they spawn in, we have to hit them with one of the 3 healing spells in order to make them vulnerable before we can actually start doing damage to them. It is very annoying. So basically, they have free reign to try and attack you while you're trying to make them vulnerable, and if things don't go well, yeah, they've killed me more times than I would like, which is, to be fair, more times than I would like is literally at least one time. But they have caused me to die in this dungeon a lot, and here they are. Thankfully, if you know, yeah, they can also, if they hit you, they also stun you, which is very annoying. And I got hit by that freeze, apparently. That's annoying. Oh, come on.
Good work, healers.
Please. Okay. Alright. I'm gonna heal myself and just run away from the enemies while... Okay, never mind. They're healing me. Oh, they're all dead. That's not good. Run away and then revive them. Remember when I said you don't get iframes? Yeah, they died literally instantly. God damn it. Yeah, there's a reason why these are the most annoying enemies in the game.
That ice hitbox is huge.
Yeah, if you think that hitbox is bad, wait till you see the final boss's hitboxes. like the spells that come from the final boss are so annoying to deal with that you can't even use that strat where you like run through and like bait out the spell because you'll still get hit by it. Okay, there we go. Got them all. They're all dead.
Phew.
I didn't lose. I didn't get game overed or anything, so we're good. Unfortunately, those are not the last we'll see of those enemies. But that is the second worst instance of them. Not the worst. The worst is yet to come. Because the worst room, arguably the worst combat room in this game that is not a boss fight, is like the second to last combat room of this dungeon. So the fact that there's one of those so late into this game is very annoying.
And so late into this dungeon.
Exactly. Because if you die in that room, you get to redo the entire thing and lose 12 minutes. And the funny part is, I've PB'd after dying in the final dungeon, just because I have a good... That wouldn't be possible anymore with my current PB, but that has happened with PBs in the past. Okay, so let's grab this, have them run through it. Grab this, have them run through it. Everybody almost has full mana. There we go. Everybody has full mana now. Everybody has full health. Alright, now I can make this room happen. This is a very, very annoying room casually. We are not going to do it casually. Because we have double jump and haste. And there we go. We're at the end of the room. And by carrying the little pyramid on our head in a way that's not exactly what you're supposed to do, yeah, we skipped the entire room. That room is very, very frustrating casually. But now it's time for what I was alluding to earlier, the most difficult and annoying combat room in the run.
You got
and the reason is very simple. It has 4 waves of enemies. One of them has those invisible dudes that are absolutely the worst enemies in the game. And one of the waves is the second worst enemies in the game, which is the flying eye dudes from way back during the ice dungeon. But this time, they're a lot stronger. Thankfully, it doesn't take as long to kill them, but the biggest problem with this room is that if you or your AIs run out of mana... Okay. That's not good. Get out of there. Alright, cool. I just got comboed and died. I have to redo the entire dungeon now. I literally couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
This is why the ending of this game is very frustrating.
That big spin attack is gross.
Yeah. It basically killed my entire party in one go, and I couldn't do anything. That's really frustrating, actually. Because that's not even... I didn't even get to explain why that room is as bad as it is beyond the enemies themselves, because in that room, if you run out of mana, you basically soft lock the game.
Oh.
And not soft lock in the sense that you have to die in order to do anything. Because what happens is, if you run out of mana, you can't do anything to the invisible dudes, which is very, very bad, because you need to kill them in order to progress the game. And if all of the AIs are dead and your main character doesn't have mana, you can't do anything to them, and you just have to die. Yep. And worse than that, if you run out of mana and you progress the game to the next room and you mess up the next puzzle, which has one of those electric pyramids that you have to charge up, if you mess up and it runs out of charge and you don't have mana, there's nowhere to restore your mana in the next room either, and so you literally just can't recharge the pyramid and you're stuck. Oof. And that happened to me during a run once as well. So yeah, there's a reason why that room is awful. And that reason is like 10 reasons.
Yeah, that seems brutal.
Yeah, because there's a lot of design decisions in this game that can be hand-waved as being like, oh, you're under-leveled, you're not supposed to be here this early. And there's a lot of design decisions in this game where just like, were you evil? Why did you do that?
Why are you making me do this? Huh.
So yeah, there's a reason why the end of this game is very, very frustrating, and why I like the game up until the end, as far as the speedrun goes. So yeah, needless to say, I'm going to be needing that full estimate this run.
Yeah. I mean, you're still great on time, so.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, it's like my estimate is high enough that even if I die in the final dungeon, as long as the final boss doesn't take me like 15 minutes, I'll be under estimate. But I will need a lot of that time, most likely. Because if you thought the final dungeon was bad, the final boss is worse.
Yeah.
I'll let you imagine how that is for now.
Yep.
Because just think of everything that this game does that is mean to you and then put it into a boss fight. And layer onto the fact that we're severely underleveled, which makes it twice as bad.
Yeah. All of the little mistakes are very, very painful. Yeah.
Yeah, because every little mistake in that fight is, oh yeah, the boss hit you with one of their attacks and it one-shots you. Or it two-shots you, or if you got unlucky, it'll one-shot you and you get hit by the ads.
Mm-hmm.
And that's phase 1. Because you can't have a Final Fantasy boss fight without multiple phases.
No. Yeah. There has to be at least a phase 2. Preferably 3.
Yeah. And that phase 2, preferably, looks like, you know, it has angel wings, it looks like a demon.
Yeah, either multiple of heads or, like, some kind of godlike entity.
Exactly. And this game does not skimp on that.
Excellent. But
we've got the rest of this dungeon to get through again before we can even think about that. Also, this pillar puzzle behind the actual pillars, you do have to push them in a specific order, but you kind of can't see them, so you just kind of have to know what you're doing. Alright. Everybody's basically at full health, but let's restore some mana. There. Yeah, because the potion hitboxes linger on the ground like that, it actually makes it really nice, because you can basically grab the potion for the character you're playing as, and then run the AI through the potion as well, and then it'll restore everybody's health and everybody's mana.
That is pretty nice.
Yeah, that is something that I didn't know about casually, and I really wish I did. Nope, you just heard a character dying in the background during that cutscene.
Totally normal.
Yes. Yeah, I will definitely want to revive them shortly, but I don't have to do it right now. Because the AIs will do it for me, as long as there is at least one AI alive, and they have mana. Yeah, this dungeon is a big reason why having the 2 AIs that are like the magic-focused ones is really, really nice, because they can heal and revive more than any other character in the game, because their spells cost less.
Yeah.
And also, the one small aspect of being underleveled that is actually nice is that they level up more often, which means they get free heals and free MP restores way more often than the character I'm playing as.
Probably an unintended benefit of the routing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like, it's not exactly what we were going for, but I'm not complaining. Ouch. Alright, I got hit by poison. Poison is not the worst status effect, but it's one of the most annoying status effects, because it like does damage over time, as poison tends to do, but when you get hit by a poison tick, it like it's like if you got hit by a normal attack and it knocks you out of whatever you're doing. And so basically you can get one action off, and then the poison will make it so that you have to interrupt your next action, and you either have to heal it away really, really quickly, or just hope that you have it run out real quick. Alright, because I accidentally mixed my spell with one of the AI spells, I casted Haste instead of any healing spell on this dude, so now I have to cast a healing spell on him again, and then he got knocked out by that fire barrel, so I didn't get to hit him again.
This is going great.
Yes. Alright, Alright, I'm dead, that's fun. Please revive me. Please revive me. Thank you. Get everybody over here so that I can revive all the AIs that are not currently alive. And then get back to full health. Thankfully, they both got hit by healing spells at some point in that chaos, so I can take them out pretty easily. Because once they are vulnerable, they're actually pretty easy to kill because you just hit them with a charge attack, and then while they're knocked down from the charge attack, hit them with 4 regular attacks using charge attack cancels, and they go down pretty quick. The problem is getting to them to the point where you can actually damage them without dying in the process.
Yeah. Between the freezing and the knock attacks and the...
Exactly. Alright, at least we get to do this skip again, because skipping this room is actually one of my favorite dungeon skips in the run. Because it's just... You skip so much, and this section would be really annoying without it, because it's like... Imagine the part earlier where, like, we had to hit that one pillar while, like, those balls were swinging back and forth. Imagine that, but for the entire room.
No, thank you.
To give, like, an idea of what this room would be casually. Get them all behind me, and then restore mana. There we go. I will also say the movement while jumping across these gaps is a lot trickier than it looks, because it's not just hold down left and you land on the platform. You have to do like a little bit of down movement in addition to mostly holding down left, and you also have to hold up left a little bit on that one instead of just holding, or up right instead of just holding up right. I said left, I meant right. Whatever. I would hope that anybody watching knows the directions better than me and know what I meant.
You gotta wiggle the character through the air. Yeah.
Yeah, basically. You can't just hold a cardinal direction and expect to land where you want to, unfortunately.
Alright, so we're back.
We're back in this room, and as long as it goes well this time, we're good. That is a big caveat, but we'll see what happens.
Yep.
Because these guys are very annoying. Alright, I'm just gonna like take a couple pot shots, run away, play it safe, take a couple more pot shots, run away, play it safe, so that I don't accidentally get killed. I didn't play it safe enough because I still got hit, but that's... that should be fine. Get you over here. There. This character doesn't have mana, that is not great. But thankfully the other characters do. And then I can get healed. Ouch. I just got hit by ocular laser. That's not what it is, but it might as well be.
Might as well be.
Alright. Get over here. Alright, these guys have both taken some good damage, so I just need to, like, take a couple more pot shots and they should be taken out. There we go, one of them's down. Hopefully one of them drops a mana item. If they don't, that's, you know, it is what it is, but
yep.
Hopefully they do. I have enough mana that I should be okay, but I need to be very careful. Oh, they did. Okay, well, I'm gonna get over here, put these guys in this corner, revive them so that they're alive, and then now let's try and take care of these guys. Alright, and that's why I want them to be alive.
Oof.
Okay, first one's dead. I just gotta hit the second one. I whiffed. Okay, that's fine. Just run away. Alright, hit this one again. Alright. This one's dead as well. Gotta cast one healing spell so that I am not almost dead. There's one more group of enemies, but they are way easier, thankfully, because they're these guys, and these guys are pretty easy to take out.
Yeah.
I can't underestimate them, because I can die to them if I'm not careful, but they are way easier than the other enemies at the very least, so I'm much less worried. Because if I hit them with a charge attack, I can basically just take them out pretty easily, because the charge attack knocks them down. And thankfully, my AI friend there leveled up, so he got his mana back, and so he was able to revive everybody.
Common and clutch.
Unfortunately, the healing items don't work like the potions, in that they don't like leave a cloud of healing, so that I can't just run through it with the AIs to restore their stuff as well. But I will absolutely take them just being alive for now, because there is still one more combat elevator, but that combat elevator is not the hardest one, thankfully. That second one is the hardest one, and as long as I'm careful, I should be fine from here on out. I have messed things up after saying that, so I do still need to be very much on guard.
Yep.
I have died in this dungeon once to the literal last two enemies of the entire dungeon. So needless to say, I am very careful now when fighting those enemies.
Yep.
Alright. Got a couple enemies here. I don't actually have to kill these enemies, but I always kill them because they drop potions, and I would like those potions. Also, as a bonus, they give me some XP, but that is not the reason I'm killing them.
Yeah.
I run them through the healing potion, run them through the mana potion. Okay. And one of them didn't get mana. Let's try that again. There we go. One more final shenanigans to skip a dungeon room, and this is the last one of the run. Alright, stand here. Wait for the platform cycle to go up. Cast haste. And go. I just took the pyramid with me for good luck. I didn't actually need it.
Ah. Love a good luck pyramid.
Exactly. Alright, and this is the last one of the dungeon. The reason why this is very much not free is because there's still more of these dudes. But thankfully, this is the easiest arena to fight them in, and since they're the first enemies, I am at the lowest risk of running out of mana out of all of the rooms. So I don't have to worry too much. Obviously, they're still not free, but because they're the first enemies, I go into this room with full health and full mana. And that makes it way less scary. And the rest of the enemies in this combat elevator are, like I said, not literally free or anything, but they're way less scary, because I don't have any more of the flying eye guys. I don't have any more of the invisible dudes. It's just a bunch of these, like, explodey guys, and then a few other kinds of enemies as well. Alright, and then another batch of them. Okay. Gonna freeze these guys just to be safe so they don't attack me. Yeah, thankfully these guys, if you freeze them, you can take out most of their health with just that. The freeze and then attacking them while frozen. But if you are unlucky, they can cast a spell that reduces the damage due to them, which, I mean, it's not like that big a deal, it just makes things take longer.
Yeah. We're still trying to go fast.
Exactly. There we go. This guy drops a mana potion, and I did take health damage from him, so I'm going to go back and get this health potion. I've spent too much time in this dungeon. I am not playing things risky at this point.
Yep.
Alright, and then kill this guy. And this is the last one for this wave, specifically. Alright, and then there's two more enemies. I'm gonna summon my AIs over here so that they are less likely to get hit by stuff. Okay, the one dude casts the defense spell, so I'm gonna do less damage to him, which is a little unfortunate, but not that big a deal. Alright, that guy's down. Now it's just this guy. I'm gonna freeze him, and we're good. Alright. Finally, we're on to the final boss.
Phew. Through the last dungeon. Excellent.
It only took like 25 minutes.
I mean, it sounds like the last dungeon in a Final Fantasy game.
Yeah. Unforgiving and no save points. So yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, yeah.
Alright, so we take this last elevator up, and this is the last heal point before the final boss. If you're curious who the final boss is, you know, That Larcacious guy looked a little suspicious, but we defeated him, right? Surely that's the only time we fight him.
Naturally, yeah.
Surely he's not going to come back as the worst boss in the entire game.
That would be terrible writing. Who would do that?
Oh, would you look at that? It's Larcacious, so we have to fight him again.
Oh.
Yeah, this is basically, imagine that fight in the library, but they made it 10 times worse, and that's this phase. Because he will constantly spawn ads. He has multiple attacks that either one-shot you or come extremely close, and health because we're underleveled. And yeah, look at that. I didn't even take out the first wave of ads and he already spawned more ads.
Rude.
This is the wave of the part of the fight where that's the you die attack. I didn't realize it soon enough, so that's one death. Feel free to keep tracking for anybody watching at home how many times I die here. It's gonna be a few.
We'll get our count on.
He has that one attack where it's literally he just summons an entire ring of an attack. Okay, I'm already dead. Cool. Off to a good start. Thankfully, the AIs aren't dead, so they can revive me if they cast the revive spell before dying. Okay. But yeah, that giant area of effect attack is basically just he summons a giant spell all around him, and if you're literally within like a 20-foot radius of him, you die. So if you hear him say, take this, just run for the hills and hope you are far enough. Oh, I barely made it out of the range for that one. Yeah, thankfully that is the only attack he shouts take this for. His other attacks, he does like a weird little grunt instead. Or like a yah, or like some other thing. However, if he says come, that's when he spawns the ads, so we don't want him to say that. And it's just all RNG. That's why this fight is so bad, because it's just like, this. If he didn't spawn ads constantly, this fight literally wouldn't actually be that bad as long as you are careful and like dodge all the attacks. But the fact that he spawns ads constantly just makes this way worse.
And as far as you know, there's not really like a cap on how many can be spawned?
Well, there can only be one of each at a time.
Okay.
But once you start killing them, he can spawn more of them at any time. Thankfully, you can still freeze him. But he also says shoo, that's another thing he says.
Shoo.
He also constantly shouts not good enough at you while you're hitting him.
Well, that's rude.
Okay, just got out of there.
Not our fault we're under-leveled. Forgot to put a lock on his door.
He didn't expect us to be able to walk through the void into the dungeon. Oh, I don't have any mana. That's unfortunate. Alright, well, no freezing. Just gotta make do. Oh wait, there's a mana potion on the ground. Never mind. That is the one advantage of killing ads, is that they sometimes drop potions, which helps a little bit. Thankfully, if you notice that he's using his giant area of effect attack fast enough, you basically are not going to die to it most of the time, because you have enough time to run away. It's just, you know, you have to notice it fast enough. And you also have to hope the ads don't screw you in the process. Because one of the problems with these ads are, if you just leave them alive and they're next to him while you're trying to attack him, they have if you attack their front, they can block you, and that, you know, it parries your attack and it just messes up your entire rhythm.
Yep.
And also, that purple guy is just constantly casting spells.
Which is rude.
Thankfully, if they do explode next to Larcacious, they do stun him, which lets you get a couple attacks in for free. And so if you can somehow finagle things so that you can make use of that, it's very nice, but yeah, no thanks. I don't bother trying unless it happens by chance. This fight's hard enough without trying to bait enemies around.
Yep.
Ooh, that was a little close.
Alright, almost done with first phase.
Okay, you didn't jinx it.
I tried.
Alright, let's revive all of the allies. Because now we got phase 2. Thankfully, once you know what you're doing with that phase, it's still really, really difficult and brutal and punishing, but it's not like the worst thing ever. This phase is RNG.
Love that.
Because if you thought spawning those ads was bad, this guy has a chance to not spawn ads at the start, but while his ads are up, he takes less damage. And so as a result, some of the ads you have to take down because they're going to be constantly casting spells. The other ads, when he summons 2 hands and the giant armor body, he will fuse with them. What that means for the boss fight is when he fuses with them, he's invincible until you destroy the armor. And so you have to go out of your way, do a ton of damage to the armor in order to actually be able to damage him at all. And then once the armor's destroyed, he is vulnerable and he takes double damage for a little while, which is enough to do about half of his health bar. But the problem is, him spawning ads is completely random, and so there's a chance for him to just sit here with all of the ads spawn and not fuse with them, and you just have to run in circles until he cooperates.
Huh.
Maybe take a few pot shots here and there, but...
Yeah. Not the damage phase, so not trying to knock him down.
Alright, and then also, his spells have, like, the same range as that area of effect attack from phase 1.
Oof.
So if that happens, you just have to run away. That's why you just run in circles around the entire arena for this phase. Whenever everything is up like this. Because you will get hit if you're not careful. Thankfully, this phase does a lot less damage than phase 1, which makes it a little bit easier to stay alive during, but you're at the whim of the boss's AI. Because as you can see, he's just not fusing even though the armor's out right now.
Yep.
So I'll take a few pot shots here and there, because any damage you do to the armor before they fuse at least carries over once it's fused. So like if I do a few pot shots here, that's a couple less hits I have to do later. But like one of the hands is constantly casting magic. The armor is also constantly casting magic. Larcatius himself is constantly casting magic. The other hand is just a melee hand. It's just kind of hopping around trying to hit you. It doesn't do anything. But everything else is just constantly trying to hit you with spells.
It's actively trying to kill you.
Exactly. That's why this phase is so annoying. It's because this can happen, and you're just stuck waiting for the boss to do something.
Poke it with a stick.
Yeah, you basically do just have to poke it with a stick. Yeah, if you get good AI, the boss actually doesn't ever spawn ads, and you're able to kill the boss before it spawns ads a single time. Alright, he's finally fusing. And thankfully you can freeze the armor to get a bunch of free hits. Oh, that's really unfortunate. That's going to mean he's going to defuse now. And the hands will be out casting spells, which makes this way harder. So back into potshot mode. Thankfully, there's one less spell flying around because he's still fused with the armor itself.
Okay.
But yeah, you basically just take pot shots because if you stay too close to him for too long, he does that area of effect attack, which also just is
hurts.
Massive range, has 0 build-up time, so if it comes out, you cannot know it's coming out. And so you basically just have to run around, take pot shots until the boss dies. Okay, I got a few hits in. I think this has like 5,000? I don't remember. I remember the person who submitted this game and taught me, Michael K. He looked up like the health values for everything in this boss fight, and like the armor has like basically as much health as the final boss itself. Or at least it has like, it might actually be like half as much. But point is, it's like, it takes like 90 hits in order to take out the armor.
Yo. The things we do for speedrunning.
Yeah, so this is a very bad fight that is salvageable.
Yep.
It is very possible for this fight to go significantly worse than this. Because I've had it where he just doesn't fuse for like 2 minutes straight. Yep, he hit me with the giant range poison attack, and I don't have any mana left, so I just kind of have to hope I survive long enough to take out the armor. I didn't. Alright, well, let's try that again. Hopefully he gives me better RNG this time.
Hopefully the RNG improves. This is an RNG manipulation?
Definitely.
Yeah.
He did not give me better RNG. He spawned ads literally frame 1.
What a pal.
Thankfully, these little pillars just cast spells, and they're very easy to kill, which is not too bad. So that makes them pretty easy to take down, and if you get okay RNG, you can actually take them down fast enough where he doesn't spawn in any of the hands before you take him down. And since no ads are spawned in right now, I do full damage. Because if you remember, I was doing about 50 damage to him before while the ads were out. Now I'm doing almost 100 per hit. And now I'm not doing 100. I'm just gonna respawn the AIs to give him an extra target to hit me.
Yep.
Ouch. Also, they can heal me. Alright, so he fused, that's good.
Much better.
Unfortunately, he defused as literally his first attack, which is very bad. So, this is better RNG in the sense that he didn't leave me running around for a minute straight waiting for him to fuse in the first place, but this is still not great RNG. So I'm just going to have to take a lot of pot shots in order to take him out, and we're going to be here for a little while. I can freeze him, but because the hands are still out...
Still magic.
Yeah, exactly. Thankfully, the hands just cast the magic that is easy to dodge, so I can... That magic, thankfully, I can just run through the circle, and I don't have to worry about getting hit by it.
Yeah.
Unlike the armor, which casts the magic that hits the entire arena, basically. And unfortunately, the freeze doesn't last that long, but it lets me get in a few hits, more hits than I would be able to otherwise.
Yeah.
Okay, move, because if I stay too long, he uses that area of effect poison attack all around him.
Yeah.
I just get hit. Because there is no tell. It is just you get hit now.
You have overstayed your welcome. Have poison.
Ouch. Yeah, you saw how you could see just how far away I was from that attack, and I still got hit by it.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. Oh, well, at least the final boss fight theme is pretty good, because it's a Final Fantasy final boss fight. I'd be surprised if it had bad music. Yeah, overall this game does have pretty good music. It's not like... Most of it's not like anything to like write home about. It's just like pretty good overall across the board, but it does have some standout songs that I like a lot.
For a sequel DS title, we'll take it.
Yeah. Alright, did not heal at a good time. Alright, I'm just gonna wait for the poison to run out and then bait out the next attack before I try and do any more damage.
Okay.
Yeah, thankfully, once you kill the armor, the hands also instantly die, so that is why I'm not worrying about them at all as far as damage goes. Hey, there we go.
Hey.
Okay, then do this until he stops being stunned, because you can see I'm doing even more damage than I was earlier, doing like 170 damage per hit. I don't have any mana, so hopefully one of the hands dropped mana. Sure didn't.
Sure didn't. Leave that health for later.
I can't freeze him, but I can still do damage to him, so that's good enough for me. Because he is not spawning in ads yet. Come on, come on. Yes, okay. That was actually not horrible.
All right, all right.
That final boss took me a while, and that was one of my better final bosses still.
What a boss. We're through.
Exactly. And also, because all the AIs are dead, I can't actually take advantage of the bow that I bought earlier. Because the reason I bought the bow is to switch to the character before that cutscene, and I can just hit the crystal straight from where I spawn instead of having to manually hit it with that melee attack. So it literally only saves like a couple seconds, but it's a couple seconds.
Yep, those minor optimizations.
Now that we beat the final boss, we have to go back to the forest. Oh yeah, by the way, there was a second forest dungeon entrance that we would have had that we skipped, and as a result of skipping it, we don't have to go through the dungeon normally. We can just go straight to the end here. And time is after I skip the last cutscene, so time is coming up. Time.
GG's. What a run.
I'm just glad I made it through and the final boss wasn't as bad as he could have been. Because that could have been significantly worse.
Yeah, second try final dungeon, second try final boss. That's not bad. Not bad at all.
Yeah, I think it was second try for both phases, actually, which is not bad. Like I said, I wonder if... I spent a really long time on phase 2 with my first try, but I'm wondering if that was a gold. Like, I don't have my splits up, and I don't know if I care enough to retime it or not. But my best time on that split still loses at least 5 minutes to the final boss.
Oof.
So, needless to say, I could very much improve that.
Yeah.
Because I think world record spends like 7 or 8 minutes on the final boss, and my best is like 12 or 13 minutes.
It's so long.
But yeah, that was Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles Echoes of Time. That is the run that I learned for this event. It's a doozy. It's fun for most of it. Like I said that a few times. It's like if it wasn't for the ending, this would legitimately be a really fun speedrun that I would probably like keep in my back pocket. But I don't think this is a run that is particularly marathon safe unless I get way better at the game. Outside of Speedromizer.
A couple of those enemies look just rough.
Yeah. Thankfully we made it through. That's what matters. We made it through the run. What was my final time?
1:37:57.
Good enough for me.
Yep. Under estimate. We're good.
Yeah. And that is why I kept my estimate at 1 hour and 40, because...
It's perfect. It's perfect. All right. Should we get you set up for the next one?
Yeah. I mean, I'll just shout out that if you are interested in learning this game or any of the other Crystal Chronicles runs, maybe the other ones, I don't know about this one. It's hard for me to recommend this run to somebody unless they really want to learn it for some reason, but there is a Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles, like, series Discord for speedrunning. And so if you want to try learning one of these games, you could hop in there, ask for some help. I don't know if there's what games have tutorials, because I didn't look into any of them other than this one. But, yeah. I'll refrain from doing any, like, personal sign-offs just yet, because I also have the next run after this, so you're going to be with me for at least another hour.
Yeah, we'll be back with you for the Rebel Transmute run.
Right, and then right in time for the end of the credits.
Yeah.
All right.
We'll be right back. Well, you'll be right back. I'll be right here.
Crowded places.